Ooh, you cannot do the Boba Fett again. That was wild. I've never seen anything that bad in my life.
I need to watch it.
I've never seen someone's show get hijacked from me. I have never in my life.
Wow.
I have never.
Who hijacked it?
The Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
Oh.
Dude, that was
like-
crazy.
Is that why there's no season 2 for Boba Fett?
Look at me.
Dude,
It's my show now.
Boba Fett was Mandalorian season 2.5. That's what I realized.
It was.
It was.
What up, everybody?
Yeah, hey everybody, you're watching the Nerdgasm podcast. I don't get Superman. For me, Superman's worse. And I'm not talking about in this movie or in the...
Is Appa the Chewie of the Avatar group?
Yes, he is!
Okay, I'll behave. Okay.
Hi guys, thanks for joining us. We are back. We are back at it again with the boys. It's the threesome. We're here. We're here to present all things nerdy.
Another
all things great.
Pornhub sound effect
Yeah.
right here.
Another Pornhub right there. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching all the videos we've done so far. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, do the things, make comments. Comments and liking helps the algorithm. But
Yeah, it
thanks
helps a
for
lot.
joining us. Let's do this.
Today we are talking about the next show of the Cartoon Network Big Three. I've had people WhatsApp me and say those are not the big three, you shouldn't lie. But
Oh.
because they're busy giving names like Kids Next Door and of course Megas XLR
Courage.
and Courage. But I like to think that it's in the golden age. That's the next gen.
That is the next gen.
Because
Kids Next Door is
but-
definitely next gen.
But
Yeah,
also, you were talking about...
OG guys were Powerpuff Girls. Kana Kimangul, Johnny Bravo,
Eddie and Johnny Bravo.
and Johnny Bravo, and then Samurai Jack. I think came in at the same time as what's his name?
Powerpuff.
Yeah, no, came at the same time as Powerpuff. You're right. Yeah.
If
But
I
you
can
were
get-
talking about the big three that Gendy was involved in.
Mm,
Not
Oh
necess-
yeah.
Not necessarily Cartoon Network, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Gendy's
Gendy's big three. But
Mm.
technically, the one we're discussing today isn't his, as you've proven last week.
right. But he was involved.
He was heavily
Yeah.
involved. That's the Powerpuff Girls.
I think I even saw in the credits he was also credited as a voice director. So he was quite intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Powerpuff Girls, sorry, yeah.
It's what happens when three people, like you mentioned, they met at school
Yes, call outs. I think.
and they basically kept their love going. And when you have it stops being a competition. You just work together because we
Yeah.
love what we're doing.
Exactly.
And that's a big contradiction we find with artists as opposed to other fields like, in business or in corporate or whatever they call it, where it's all a big race. Like the founders of Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they're always at war.
For what?
Yeah, but when it comes to arts, it's always a collaboration. I mean, the other example that comes to mind would be, what you call those people? There's a studio record, the one where Diana Ross was in.
Oh, Motown.
Yeah. Everybody
Motown, early Michael Jackson, Lionel
Yeah.
Richie, Jackson 5. Yeah.
Everybody worked together. And I mean, there are some songs you'll find that this guy was actually doing the backup vocals for this song. That
Oh,
made it
yeah.
one in
Yeah.
that place.
Yeah,
Because for them, the art was more important than this competition. Than we need to make a chart-topping record, or we need to make these things. And I think something that's a bit lost in today's day and age, sort of. There's no sense of unity. But we'll get there. That's my
Very silo, driven.
But I guess it also has to do with the size of, the art, like the business. Motown was probably not that big, but with Pepsi and Coke, they are way too big. I guess maybe that could be the
they
reason.
weren't always too big. They started somewhere.
Right.
And
Right.
you never in the history books do you hear them starting together.
That's true. I
It's
think
also priorities, because priority
Right.
back then was on making the best art. Now it's about selling
the best.
the most merch.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
So-
That's true.
Yeah.
A moment of wisdom. Sponsored by Halacorp. Ding.
Yeah. And also, we can't list all the artists on Motown. So if anyone's mad that we didn't name your favorite person from Motown, sorry. There's a lot of great people there.
Motown Records is I think it's it's not even a Gen X, it's a boomer.
Mm.
It's a boomer generation group. So we are millennials. We are too young to know everything about the boomer generation. So forgive us. I know some guys are going to start coming at us about the what's his name? No. Look, I can't even think of these people's names. So yeah, this is your example. Blank millennial. Educate us. Don't judge us.
True.
That sounds so stupid anyway. So let's get on to the meat of the matter. Oh, once again, before we start with Powerpuff Girls, let's talk about Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
Disclaimer once again.
I didn't
Our
get to watch
opinions
it,
are
but
our own.
I'll hear you guys out.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Our opinions are our own. We are by no means endorsed by Disney
True.
or any other of those affiliating corporate mother-grabbing censor myself.
Yeah.
Censor myself again. Those corporate executives in those distributing agencies. We do not. We are by no means endorsing their behavior,
Mhm.
and we are in full support of this writer strike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so,
yeah.
yeah.
100%.
Last week I was too vague. I was like saying we are another for and against. I'm gonna come out and say today we are in 110% support of this writer strike,
Yeah,
Right.
very much. Yeah.
100%.
and we are by no means encouraging you to consume the merchandise, aka go watch Ahsoka or not. We are not telling you that. We are just reflecting on what we've seen because of what we love, because we do love Star Wars.
Mm.
And disclaimer. All right, Ahsoka. I forgot the name of this episode. I'll put it down somewhere.
Ahsoka. Well, actually, I actually want to hear what you have to say because I just watched the episode.
Okay,
I
I
watched
watched it on Thursday, so I had
Mm.
time to marinate. I'm going to use the word marinate on it. What I first noticed is there's a sudden change in pace,
Very much, yeah.
Mm.
and also a sudden change in action. Some of the action didn't make sense at all. At
But
all.
wait.
I'm so
Isn't,
happy to that.
isn't that the usual pacing when it comes to these 6-episode series type of thing?
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Mm.
Because even with the MCU, and the last episode feels rushed.
Yeah,
Am
always.
I the only one
Always.
that thinks that?
So it's
Mm.
usually episode 3 is the one that doesn't make sense. I mean, there's always that one episode in the series that doesn't make sense. Like in
It
the
feels like
Mandalorian,
filler.
in the
It feels like
Mandalorian,
filler.
there was that silly episode about that mad scientist living in Coruscant and was like all depressed and trying to help, and then he ends up being used up by that other person as a spy.
The thing is, this episode does make sense in terms of plot.
It
but
does.
But where it fails yet again, and I feel like it's a thing that's gonna reoccur and ruin the show, is the action set pieces have no logic. That's where it fails. Like it happened in episode 2 with the whole lightsaber thing and people being stabbed and you can survive the lightsaber. This episode takes that to a whole other level. This is when you're like,
we must not say his name. You saw what happened last week.
Yeah. Basically, so what happens is there's a scene where, sorry, I'm jumping the gun here, but I just want to just to make that point clear. So there's a scene where Ahsoka they're in space,
Yes.
and there's a shootout happening and
Yes.
they're trying to shoot each other, basically. And Star Wars old logic is if the ship gets shot, it blows up. But now that logic is gone.
You can see the influence from Star Trek, if you noticed.
Yeah, there's
Because
a lot
now
of,
the little pieces in space and it's all.
so there's a scene where Ahsoka is outside on the wing of the plane while another ship is trying to shoot them down, and she's like,
deflecting it
deflecting big ass laser beams being
from
shot at
a
her
fighter.
from a fighter jet, and
What?
with just her lightsaber.
And
But then also
No
they
way.
miss
the ship.
they miss the ship, and I'm like, why are you missing the ship? And also, why would It's actually so frustrating. 'cause
I mean, I wish there was a moment there that showed maybe. I think what they're trying to communicate was that the apprentice girl, whatever her name is, she's a bit impulsive, or rather, she's in it for the
No,
glory, I guess.
no, they didn't articulate that. Because I was thinking if she was
because
in it
then-
for the glory, she was gonna jump out of the ship and
And
go
then
do a lightsaber fight in space, which is dumb, but is cool
Dumb.
to watch. At least.
You guys are reminding me of that scene with Princess Leia in space using the Force. Oh,
This is
Mary
that.
Poppins.
oh my goodness.
This is that, but even worse because this one makes even less sense.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Why would you not just shoot the ship?
Right.
Because then
Exactly.
it solves your problem.
Shields are down. The ship is dead in the water, in the space. It's a big ass target.
How can you miss it?
Hit the main reactor. Come on.
Problem solved.
Problem
then Ahsoka
solved.
can
No.
just
Ahsoka
run out of
just walked
oxygen in
out
space.
there and she lit her lightsabers, and then the girl's like, she's challenging me. I will shoot her dead.
But I mean, yeah.
And then the second part, yeah, sure, you took out one of the ships with your fancy lightsaber tricks, right? And now you're floating in space. And now you need help to be sent back into the ship. I'm thinking, girl, we've seen this already. Use the Force.
Right.
But there's also no real hook. Like that was also my problem with the show. Like there's no hook. Like I'm not because I mean usually it's the Empire has taken over the universe and we need to defeat the Empire. But now we're in a state of peace. That's when the show a relative peace. But I'm like, but what's the hook? Like what are we trying to? The stakes are not high.
Well, they're trying to communicate that the stakes are high with the return of Thrawn, and they're trying to ride off the reputation of Thrawn to make sure that everybody who knows Thrawn feels a sense of urgency. So people who watch Rebels and people who've consumed Legends know just how dangerous Grand Admiral Thrawn is. In fact, Legends Thrawn is 1,000,000 times more scarier than Rebels Thrawn. Come at me, fans. I don't care what you say. I've read the books. So they're trying to write that innate fear that we have. He's like, during the peaceful times, and then you hear that the ring has been found and there's smoke in Mount Doom. It's that type of hidden evil that they're trying to communicate that are failing horribly because it doesn't. It falls flat. Many people are jumping.
But the reason why Sauron works is because you feel his effects throughout the entire Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the world is in chaos because he could return. Now in this show, they're like Thrawn could come back, but we're at peace. Everything's cool. The government's got it. We've got it together.
Like, what?
Yeah.
It's like how they treated Voldemort as well. Even though he was not there for the most part, you still felt like, his followers are.
His followers are a problem. His followers are the problem.
Right.
Terrorism, random terrorism from Voldemort helped. Yeah.
Another scene that made me feel slightly better was the fact that the general lady had to ask for permission from the Senate to lead a strike, because that told me that she's definitely not the admiral of that ship.
No, she's not clearly.
Because if you look at any admiral of a rebel fleet, they act and ask for permission.
Apologize later. Yeah.
I mean, look at Rogue One. Admiral Redis was like, "Screw you guys! I'm not gonna wait for you to cock us. The fleet's going to Scarif."
Even Captain Kirk would have done something like that. I know it's Trek, not Wars, but still.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So now you
gonna
send an Ahsoka message. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. We are not sending backup. I was like, you're an entire general, one. you can. The Senate may not authorize you to mobilize the fleet, but you can order a strike. Where are your
Yeah.
soldiers? Where are your troops? When you're a general, you've got command. It's like she gives the same type of general that you find Han Solo was in
Mm.
Return of the Jedi, where you're thinking, yeah, it's like a title only. Han Solo was
Mm.
general in title only. He just had a squad
Yeah.
and a task force of what, 20 people. You don't see him leading an entire army and saying,
No.
General, what are your orders? Take this position there.
It's like Poe. Poe is supposed to be the
Right.
leader of.
Yeah.
But then why are
Yeah.
you running around with Rey? Don't you have a whole group of people that
You know,
aren't-
those films introduced us to characters that had so much potential, but none of them lived up to the potential.
To this
None.
day,
Yeah.
the only thing that's keeping me sane about those three is the various sordid and disgusting fanfics that they're making about them. I think there was one I've read, I forgot its name, where all three of them were in a polyamory relationship.
What?
As in what Ray?
As
Wait, as in
Finn and
Finn,
Poe were
Poe, and
together.
Ray.
Finn, Poe, and Ray.
Oh,
But if you think about it, we did get all those vibes from all of them throughout
yeah.
the three movies. It sort of makes sense. It's just that
No,
Rey would have cheated on Poe and Finn with Kylo, but
You know?
yeah, that dynamic between them is so confusing. It's so confusing. I don't know because Finn and Ray are supposed to be best homies,
Yeah.
but
Right.
then after the first movie, it's like they barely even like each other or know each
Right.
other or even talk to each other. And then Finn and Poe are supposed to also be like best homies,
Yeah.
but then they also just drop
Hang
that.
on. Finn and Ray don't speak to each other in The Last Jedi.
No, they
Finn
do at
and
the
Ray,
end.
no, they do. He does that idiotic Ray. I've got something to tell you, and
No,
then
that's Skywalker.
That's Skywalker. But
In
at
The
the
Last
end,
Jedi,
I think
oh,
at
in
the
the
end,
Last Jedi. Oh, sorry, my bad.
after the whole ship thing, don't they meet and talk? And then he introduces her to
okay,
Poe, I think.
okay, correction. For 90% of that movie,
No, they
Finn
don't.
and Ray have absolutely
Yeah.
no dialogue.
I think
No.
all they ever do is look at each other after not seeing each other twice in that movie for a long time, and then hug each other and be like, "It's so good to see you again." Because I remember
Yeah.
because he wakes
Yeah.
up in the movie in the opening after he does the back surgery,
Hmm.
and then
that's
he's like
another thing.
Ray, and then it happens again at the end where she moves the rock, and he's like
Yes.
Ray, and then they're like, "We're best friends," and I'm like, "Are you though?"
You know what I think happened, and I could be wrong. I think when they created that thing, they said we're gonna do three main characters, and then these three main characters are basically the new Leia, Han, and what's this? And Luke, right? But we want them to have each of them should have their own adventure, and even though they have their own adventure, they still need to come out at the top. Like Poe would eventually become a general, Rey would eventually become like a great Jedi, and Finn would become a great Jedi, and none of that
yeah,
happened.
what is Finn at the end of it?
Finn is just a person.
Finn is a great.
Is that Asian chick's boyfriend?
No, it's not even. They didn't even end up together. Because in the
Ah.
last Skywalker, he ends up finding those group of former
Oh yeah,
troopers, and they liberated
yes.
themselves, and then you can see they're trying to infer that ooh, they might be getting on together.
You know
Oh, with
what?
that black chick.
Yeah.
You know what? Because Disney and Star Wars are scraping the barrel for everything and anything, I do see a Finn spin-off TV show happening. Because everybody has said the whole potential of a stormtrooper turned good and like dealing with his past was not used at all in those movies. So like maybe they will use that in the TV
only
show
way-
or a TV show. Sorry.
The only way I could forgive Disney is if that spin-off he discovers that he's a Jedi or that he has the Force.
Wait, guys, isn't there something in production where Ray is coming back? I think
There is.
Daisy Ridley is coming back, isn't she?
She is.
Oh,
Yes.
she better make her money, Tim. Poor thing.
Yeah.
Like I argued in that whole Star Wars podcast is that the crime of these new Star Wars movies is not the cost of the cast. The cast did an
No, it's not the
absolutely
cast.
no.
No,
fantastic
no,
good
no.
with a terrible production, and they're the saving grace, in fact, of those three movies.
Right.
And I'll go on a limb and say that if it wasn't for that cast, those movies would be unwatchable.
Yeah, because Kylo Ren's emotions, man. My goodness. Jeez. On point.
But there's no guarantee that movie will be made. I mean, I remember it was announced that it was in production, and they've said there's a director.
I'm gonna come out and say that I hope it doesn't, because I'm so sorry. We are tired.
It's gonna be like Blade now, because Blade, I don't think it's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Oh no.
Because like the main thing is Disney movies haven't made a lot of returns this whole year. Most of their movies have not made a lot like money.
Oh, like
wonder
Elemental didn't, right?
No, it didn't. It was a box office bomb. Haunted Mansion was a box office bomb.
What else came out?
There was another one that came out. I don't know. The Marvels are supposed to come out, but but we'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, that one is with Miles is in collaboration with Sony, right?
No, that's an MCU movie.
So
I think it's solo. I mean, it's so confusing, but it's a MCU. It's a Disney movie through and through.
Didn't it do well?
It hasn't come out yet, so we'll see how that goes. But there's other Disney movies. Sorry, I can't think of all of them, but
Yeah,
for the majority, most of the Disney movies have not performed at the box office as well as they have. So there's that. Then also, Disney has not been getting the tax write-offs that they were hoping to get this year. And also, there's so much Disney business news. Sorry, the strike. There's also, they want to sell to Apple potentially. There's so much business news that this movie might not happen just because someone and Kathleen Kennedy is going to leave Lucasfilm. So there's just so many things happening behind the scenes where it's like, I don't see this movie is going to happen. Like,
and also, people have sort of blamed Bob Chapek for this entire disaster, because he was in charge when Bob Iger left, and then the pandemic happened, and then he was pushing a lot of content on Disney Plus, including the Black Widow film, and that caused Scarlett Johansson to be upset with him, and he sued Disney. Then I think Emma Stone also followed suit with Cruella. So it's like what you start realizing is after like 3 to 4 months, a movie has been released in the cinema. It appears on Disney Plus, and that's not how would that help the box office? How would that help with box office returns?
And it might have even, or those two actresses suing the studio might have even pushed this actor strike more.
Oh, yeah. Also, there's something that I wanted to mention that I'm sure you probably would have mentioned as well. The VFX artists are also striking.
Unionizing.
Unionizing, sorry, yeah.
Like, that's screwed.
Yeah.
Because no, they've been releasing a lot of crap lately, and I blame the schedules. The deadlines are just ridiculous, man.
Yeah, honest to God.
It's crazy.
And they're expecting to release. And if you see just how bad things have gotten, when you can see, if the quality is worse than movies like Lord of the Rings, I can tell you something has gone wrong.
Yeah.
Honest to God. I mean,
in terms of visual effects,
yeah. How can you see more emotion in Aslan that came out, I don't know how many years ago?
Over 20 years ago.
Compared to Lion King that came out relatively recently.
True.
Right.
I mean, it's actually a joke, but like Iron Man's suit gets worse and worse as the movies go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always keep fighting with my friends saying that the Mark 7 armor is the best Iron Man armor. The one in Avengers. And you can see that it's the last time it actually looked like an armor.
Right.
Yeah, after that, it just... Indiana Jones is the other movie that bombed. Sorry. That's
yeah! For good reason. And the budget for that thing was crazy, hey?
What?
Yeah. Also, the budget for Secret Invasion is as high as some of the movies that came out in the past, like the Marvel
Bruh.
movies. I'm like, what?
Why?
What was so high about this thing?
Yeah,
Like,
because
I know it
even
looks so normal.
no,
Disney
the-
low budget.
Disney has fallen into the idea that if you put enough money into it, people will say yes at the expense of time and schedule,
right,
and it
right.
doesn't work like that. Some things, no matter how much you water a plant, it will grow at its own pace.
Yes.
Mm.
And also, if you bring Game of Thrones actors, you think your stuff is gonna work. But I mean, they
Mm.
brought in Rob Stark, they brought in Jon Snow, now they brought in Khaleesi. I mean,
And they're all
really,
bombing. They bomb every
They
time
bombed
they get
hard.
a game.
They
all,
bombed hard.
all of them.
And you know what's so weird? When I saw Khaleesi in that show, I was like, "Why are you in the show? Aren't you like
Yeah.
the most famous person on the planet?
Yeah.
Why are you
remember-
playing the like fourth most important person in the show? It's
Who
so
remembers-
weird. Go be
who
an
remembers-
X-Men. What are you doing in here?
She could have been a nice Jean Grey or a flipping nice.
Mystique or something.
Yeah.
Yo,
Like, really?
Really?
Emma Frost or something.
Really?
she would have been an awesome Emma Frost. Oh my god,
Yeah.
She would have looked amazing. Not
she
that I
would
think
have.
about it.
Yo,
With blonde hair.
well, we
Yeah,
all know that she
true.
rocks the blonde hair well.
Yep.
But like, why would you want to be the scroll guy? We don't even know his name. His
The daughter of
Like-
what's it? Is it Talon or whoever that guy is?
Oh, let's not forget her wonderful performance in that solo movie.
I still haven't watched that.
You know what? Maybe her agents are just really tight with Disney, and they're just trying to get it in there. I don't know, but
I think-
make
I
better
think she's-
decisions.
She's just doing it for the money, guys. Like,
Who isn't?
yeah.
Like at the same time, you see the actresses that I can forgive for them just doing it for the money. She's one of them. After the disaster
Mm.
in HBO, girl, I can understand that you're jaded and bitter and you can do whatever you want. The other
Yeah.
person I'll give a free pass for the rest of her life, Angela Bassett. After she got snapped from that Oscar, girl,
Right.
I don't care what you can do, what you be doing.
Right. Right.
Yeah, true. Are you talking about both times, as in for the Tina Turner movie or for Black Panther?
Both,
Yeah.
because
And you know what? I feel like that quote actually really applies to her in real life. I've lost everything.
have I not given everything?
Have I not given everything?
She
Like you have, dude. You have
What?
been performing, but you haven't
Didn't you
won
mention
anything.
Didn't you say something before about how everybody who wins Oscars has to basically yell at the screen for
Did I?
for them to be
Yeah.
nominated?
You know
Look at
what's
every single Oscar nominated and winning performance, from what's her name?
Denzel.
How to Get Away with Murder to
Viola. Yeah, because Viola cried. Denzel cried. There's King Kong. Hey, okay.
Ain't got
yeah,
nothing
Oscar.
on me.
He's getting an Oscar. He's
That's
getting an
true.
Oscar.
That lady, I mean, who was yelling about drinking from a cup. Nobody else here wants to use. Oh,
Yeah.
also that
Kuba.
movie, like I would actually love to talk about it another time, but like Everything Everywhere All at Once, I feel like it was a bit overhyped. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but like everyone was talking about it like it's the best thing since sliced bread, and I was like, isn't this just The Matrix, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like with just something else?
It is the Matrix.
Well,
It's
somebody
basically the
said it.
Matrix without red and blue pill.
Yeah.
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 I'm like, this is not that unique of an idea. Sure, there's like cool things, but like
I mean-
I've seen this before. Copy paste.
But guys, you know what? There's something that I have realized over the years as I was getting older.
Yeah.
Anime has raised the bar so high, man,
Yeah.
that whatever people find fascinating across the board is, to us, it's lackluster because we have read and seen some of the greatest
Mm.
stuff on earth.
Yeah, I think that's also
Yeah.
why okay, I can speak for myself that I really, really, really don't care about the Oscars.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
everybody says this is an Academy Award nominated performance, blah 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 blah, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
well, the story doesn't resonate with me, and I've got friends, and I know some of them, if they see this clip, they're going to crucify me because my one friend, he will never miss the Oscars, and he watches these movies like he's like a those aristocrats going to the opera with them glasses and everything. He's that level of a movie snob, and he will crucify me for what I'm saying. But the fact is, the Oscars have lost their lackluster because the Oscars have showed themselves to be hypocrites so many different times.
Yeah.
Right. And ever since people have said that the Oscars are white, a lot of black people are winning Oscars and Asians, and it's like, oh, okay, you're doing the idols thing now.
And that's why I'm thinking that everything. What is it? Everything all at once.
A lot of Asians.
That's why they won, because now everybody say, okay, now why are you snubbing the Asians? And I'm thinking, no, you're not snubbing Asians.
Yeah.
Watch a lot of members from the LGBTQI community win.
Oh yeah, that's.
Oh no, we went through our phase. Don't worry, we did.
Oh, already? Oh, okay.
I mean,
there was the Moonlight here.
There was the Moonlight.
Oh
yeah. There was the Moonlight. There was
Black
the Brokeback
and LGBT.
Oh, Brokeback Mountain. Yeah, the Brokeback Mountain.
I always used to joke that during each age, there's like a 10-year period, right? Right now we are going through the age where everybody needs to yell to win the Oscar. I think we just crossed that one. We're going through everybody needs to be Asian, but before then, everybody had to be gay to win an Oscar. Because Charlize Theron, she won her Oscar.
Oh, Monster.
What was Monster about?
Yeah. That's true.
True.
That's true, actually.
That's true. The 2000s was that on that way.
He had to be to win the Oscar. And speaking of, guess what? Why didn't y'all tell me?
What?
August is.
Oh, what?
Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? August. Oh, as in Alcina.
Really? That makes the story even more interesting.
That's so weird.
I can't even. This is the best payback for Will Smith in his entire life. It's like, girl, he hit yours and turned gay.
Oh my god!
I don't know what happened. Right up Kitty that you call a puntai that turned the straightest of straight men gay. Before you it was Nicki Minaj, and then after you it was men.
You know what's so weird though? I really like Will Smith. Don't get me wrong, but like hearing the movies that he was supposed to be in and he turned down himself just made me not like a Will Smith fan, because I heard he was supposed to be in like Django, and then he was supposed to be in The Matrix, and he was also supposed to be in Inception, the Leonardo DiCaprio role.
What? Yes.
And he turned, I was like, you know what, bro?
He was also supposed to be Superman, and he turned that down.
And I'm like,
no.
I'm not with you anymore, bro. Like, just for that.
I think Will Smith has a deep understanding of a situational awareness, because as much as we can respect Will Smith as an actor, but every single role he plays in, it's just Will Smith acting as Will Smith.
Yes, I think it's an ego thing, because in all honesty,
he was
forcing Django to be a love story. Like, dude, it's slavery. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
there's no room for love here.
And technically, the story in and of itself is a love story.
It is a love story.
It is.
You are going to rescue the love of your life, who's a slave in this terrible house.
Also, stop telling directors and writers what to do. Like, you're a good actor. Cool,
you can't humble yourself. You won't make it. I mean, I forgot there was this lovely discussion, and I forgot the names. I'm terrible with names when I'm online. Guys, get used to me. They was explaining how Arnold Schwarzenegger stuck with this one director.
James Cameron.
Paul Verhoeven.
There you go. Yeah. Throughout most of his career, and he humbled himself to listen to this director, and that's how he became such a big mainstream success.
It's James Cameron, because if it wasn't for James Cameron, there wouldn't have been a Terminator 1 and 2.
Yeah, true.
And there wouldn't have been a True Lies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, James Cameron made him a movie star.
He did.
So, I mean, when you get you as the talent, quote unquote, need to be able to humble yourself to be used as an instrument to create a vision.
The thing is, I'm not trying to insult Will Smith's intelligence. Like, I think if you have ideas about the script and the story, share them. But the caliber of people that you think that they don't know enough about their own story, like, How are you gonna tell Quentin Tarantino like, yo, bro, I think your
Nobody
story
tells
like,
nobody,
people
nobody,
on Earth.
like how you gonna tell
nobody
Christopher
tells
Nolan like, yo, bro, I think
nobody.
Inception.
No one.
Like,
No one.
no.
You see those two
Oh,
people you
God.
mentioned? No one can tell them what to do with their stories. No
Like,
one.
I mean,
like,
No
and
one.
come on,
and
bro.
what breaks my heart is that Django came out after Kill Bill.
Right?
Kill Bill won an Oscar. Uma Thurman humbled herself to listen to this crazy man
Mm.
in this
Yes, but
ridiculously violent movie,
but Kill Bill is a classic, guys. It's one
and
of the
there
best
she
It
things
is
was.
a
that ever
classic.
happened to cinema. Wow, like Kill Bill is amazing.
No, even then, Django came out after Inglorious, so he had Kill Bill and Inglorious, and you're
Right.
still like,
And
yo, I
Right.
think,
so you think yourself better than Brad Pitt?
and like Will Smith movie ratio of good to bad is not the greatest, bro.
Yeah.
It is not the greatest.
Yeah.
Funny
So,
enough, the movies where he actually respected the directors and paid attention were great. Bad Boys
yeah,
1, Independence Day,
Yeah.
Men in
Ali,
Black, Ali.
yeah.
Mhm.
But the ones where he was trying so hard to be the guy,
Mm,
they flopped. Look at AS Suicide Squad.
You?
yeah,
Like you were trying to outshine the
yeah.
leader of the group, who was who's this guy?
Oh, Rick Flag.
Rick Flag.
Mm.
You're busy questioning his leadership skills the whole movie. Like, dude, chill, relax. And you can see the difference
Yeah.
between Idris Elba's role
Mm.
and
Idris-
Will Smith's. The reason Idris one worked is because Idris was just, you can tell that this guy is one
Yeah.
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
He is part of a team.
Yeah.
He's a
No.
team player. He's a team
Absolutely.
player. You know?
Yeah,
So
man. Will,
that's
I love you, bro, but like, come on, man. Just make better decisions, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, where was I? Where were we? Star
Ahsoka.
Wars. We're still finishing up what we learned about the Ahsoka episode 3.
Yeah. I
My
think we're
biggest
talking
issue-
about the problem with Disney and
Yeah,
but
yeah. My biggest issue with Ahsoka is that the pacing is a bit off, as I've mentioned. It slows down, yes. The action sequence, the climatic action sequence of that episode, kind of pulled me out of the movie.
Mm.
And then the fact that she landed then the planet, they hit themselves, and the main bad guy is acting like the main bad guy. That fallen Jedi guy, what's his name? That one. And it's like, oh, Ahsoka is in the forest. Should I go in the forest after them being the strongest person here, or
Yeah,
be
that's.
sent by minions?
Oh, yeah. Should I send the minions to go kill the Jedi that I know is gonna kill my minions and kill my resources?
Yeah, no. Go
Yeah.
find her.
are these characters deliberately being dumb, guys? Because
I think
They are. They are. They
or
are.
are these episodes written by AI? Like I'm trying to understand what's going on. Because the more we talk about these things, the more I realize no
They-
way is
They
this.
like filler, right? They like
Yeah.
weird filler.
this
It's
episode
like
felt
it's like Thor, the fourth
Love and
Thor
Thunder.
movie, Love and Thunder.
Oh, I actually haven't watched that movie because
No.
I
Oh.
know the internet told me stay away from this.
I will tell you right now, the only good part about that movie are the screaming goats.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Even
it.
my girlfriend says the same thing every time we talk about that movie.
But I mean, in terms of, I'm not gonna lie. If it wasn't for us talking about it, I would actually not be watching this show anymore. There's nothing that interests me about Ahsoka anymore. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing pulling me. I don't even care about Ahsoka's character development because they have not teased any. I don't know what she's supposed to learn
Right.
and grow from, or
Right.
like the show's called Ahsoka, but it's not. It's barely really about her. Like, I'm good.
It's like doing the Boba Fett all over again. You know, it's
Oh, you cannot do the Boba Fett again. That was wild. I've never seen anything that bad in my life.
I need to watch it.
I've never seen someone's show get hijacked from me. I have never in my life.
Wow.
I have never.
Who hijacked it?
The Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
Oh,
Dude, that
I
was
was like,
crazy.
is that why there's no season 2 for Boba Fett?
look at me.
Dude,
It's my show now.
Boba Fett was Mandalorian season 2.5. That's what it was.
It was.
It
It was. I don't lie.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
there's literally episodes without Boba Fett in his
Wow.
own show. I was like, yo,
It's
what
his
is
own
going
show.
on?
It starts
Wow.
with
Crazy.
Jin all over collecting a bounty, learning how to use a lightsaber. I was like,
That's crazy. That actor should sue Disney. They wasted his time. I'm not even gonna
he
lie.
must have gotten paid. He must have gotten paid. It's like, bitch. I think I've also realized the older certain actors get, the less and less they care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, except for that guy who was Green Arrow.
Stephen Amell.
Yeah, that son of a bitch. I mean, you go on Twitter saying that strikes don't work, and then when you see how much you stand to lose, you suddenly are picketing with everybody else, saying, "Oh wow, no, we must strike. This writer strikes is bad. This writer strike is bad."
Wow.
Nah.
I mean, this is probably the only criticism Disney cares about is
Yeah.
the show is not good enough for me to keep my Disney Plus subscription. So if you want to listen to that, please take that criticism. It's not good enough.
Also, how
Mr.
are
Filoni,
they?
do not attack my laptop, all right?
I'm just saying, like,
I did not say it,
if you've watched
but I do
Andor,
agree with it.
if you've watched Andor, then you've gotten the best out of your Disney Plus subscription. You can leave now. You can go. There's nothing. Secret Wars and Ahsoka is not enough for you to pay. You can
But
go.
also, how are they? How do they measure their views? Because I was listening to John Campea. John Campea, I don't know. He was saying something like, it seems like they're only counting the first 4 minutes or first 15 minutes as views or something. Like how do you guys know
Stupid.
how many people love your shows? How do you know? How can you tell?
So, like,
You
it's
see-
different from streaming to television.
The
This-
biggest flop that Netflix did, or that the streaming services are doing for themselves, is that they're trying to emulate YouTube without having comments.
Right. Right.
YouTube has a system in place where if people can express their opinions of the products by either liking or commenting or
And it keeps them on the
disliking,
platform, yeah.
and that gives the content creator or the broadcaster the communication they need
Right.
to say whether this thing is a success or not. Streaming services don't have that. They only have the only way they can be able to determine whether something is successful or not is by having people keep paying on the
subscription.
the subscriptions.
Yeah.
And that's not saying anything because it just does the what. The more content you're creating, the less it's telling, because you can access everything. There's no way saying, okay, for you to access this part of Disney, you can you need to pay another $10 for Disney Hyper Plus or something like that. There isn't something like that.
Also,
dude, I was. Oh, sorry. Please go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. Thanks, man. I was just gonna say. Also, streaming services, in my opinion, are very well known for withholding the information that they have.
Yeah.
So, like, even though John Campea, right, who I, don't sue me for defamation, but I think he's a paid Disney person. But like, honestly, I think he's on the payroll.
What makes you say that? What makes you say that?
Dude, like, I feel like he sells the shows. This is just new. This is a new form of marketing. I feel like
he speaks a lot about Marvel or
Disney,
Plus,
Marvel, all that stuff. He talks about the business, and I feel like a lot of his job is he sees narratives that are forming, and he tries to disarm them or push them to the side. And I mean, apart from, like, I don't know, I haven't watched him talk about the strike or anything, so I wouldn't say he's against the strike. But like, usually when there's negative news about Disney, I feel like he always tries to divert the conversation to something else, or try and speak up
Really?
for the studio. So, and I'm not saying he is,
Huh,
but
I
it
never
seems
got
like
that from him.
I
Okay.
feel I don't feel like he's genuine. I feel like he's playing like he's just
Yeah.
a fan, but I
Hmm.
think he's on the payroll.
But I guess
I have
it's also
no.
a good thing that he has other people on his team to actually give their views as well, because some of the people he gets on there, like Chris Carr or Rob Burnett or John Voico or that other guy, gosh, I forgot his name. I think it's right. They also would say something that might not necessarily agree with what he's saying. So
No, look, I
yeah,
think he does sprinkle in his own personal opinions, but I do feel like to keep the relationships that he has, he genuinely tries to play it safe.
I get
So
you.
basically, you're telling me he's one step shy of being a Rupert Murdoch.
Whoa, that's a bit far. No.
Okay,
I think he's a good buffer between fan narratives and the studio narratives, and the
okay.
narratives that the studio wants to perpetuate and that the fans want to perpetuate. So like if the fans are like, we don't like the show, then I feel like his whole thing is like, the show is not as bad as you guys say. Maybe it'll grow on you guys in a few years. Or he'll be like, "Oh, guys, the show's actually really good," and then like to dispel the narrative, and then years later he'll be like, "That show actually wasn't that good." But so he can actually say he's true. But at that time, he would have said the show is good, just so he can try and dispel the narrative. But like that's just I have no proof, but it's just from my viewing. I'm like, I'm not even that dedicated to him. I don't watch a lot of his things, but I just watch every now and then, and I'm like, I don't know, this guy doesn't seem the most genuine guy.
You've piqued my interest. I'm gonna spy on him for you.
Yo, guys, I check out John Campea almost every day. I never really got that thing, but it's an interesting take.
And you're right. Maybe he is like you are very much entitled to your opinion. You think he's a fan and he's genuine about his fandom and he's just reporting on the news and things. And I think this is a business and he has business partners and business interests and he's do the best to make sure that his business thrives.
It could be true. It could be true.
Because before, people, especially in the TikToks, people were busy saying how Disney used to come up hard against them sharing their opinions about Disney. Like there was a person who used to be an employee at Disney World, and he was telling about the things that happened behind. They sent him a cease and desist.
Yeah. And I mean, even Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, every now and then, I'm like, I don't know, what is this?
I've stopped.
Rotten Tomatoes lost my trust completely when they gave The Last Jedi a 98%.
Dude, they gave Dave Chappelle's special a 0%. A 0%.
And even like the articles that come out, like I remember when Spider-Man was the No Way Home, that garbage, when that was like the highest rated Rotten Tomato movies. And there's articles everywhere. Oh, Spider-Man is the highest rated movie at Rotten Tomatoes of all time, blah, blah. And I'm like, I feel like Disney owns you guys. Like, what? This is weird. Like,
Do you know who I miss? There used to be a guy, I don't know if he's still with us. Rob Iger. Huh? Who was it? No. Rob, I forgot his name. Something like that. Roger Ebert.
Yeah, Roger Ebert.
Roger Ebert who used to give objective feedback about anything, whether it's any anime or cartoon or if it sucks, he'd say it like
and there's movies that everybody would say sucks, but he was like, I like that movie. That's my movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what? Which we well, no, they're not necessarily honest. Correct reviewers, but they were very funny as hell. Honest trailers and honest game reviews. That YouTube channel, to this day, I still watch some of the reviews because they make me laugh better than anything else in a while.
Or those how it should have ended, guys. You know those things.
Yeah, because the one I keep going back to was Transformers. I think it's Age of Extinction or something like that. The one with the dinosaurs. Because there's a part there where he gets this Chinese lady to cut in at the third part of his review, just like they do in the movie, just for shameless views.
Wow!
And it ends with her saying, "It's all your fault, you American pigs." I've never stopped listening to that.
Was that one with Batman and Superman having conversations at the cafe?
Oh, that's how it should have ended. Yeah,
How it should have ended.
Oh, that's how it
Because
should have
I'm
been.
back.
that was
It's
a
like
great time.
when they were making comments about the Aquaman trailer, Batman is like, "Hey guys, have you seen Fish Eminem?" Like he was referring to who's this Orm. Master Orm is like Fish Eminem. Yeah, that was funny.
That was wrong.
Do they still?
Anyway.
Is that channel still going? Sorry, just side note. Is it?
I don't know. Eh?
It's
I'll
not
check.
popping up in my algorithm, so clearly something's
Yeah.
not going on there.
Hey, you know the people, the IP guys. This is our IP. How dare you speak about it?
But you're making it better.
Yeah.
I feel like these channels make these things relevant. The last
Exactly.
thing you should do is shut them down.
Exactly.
True.
I mean,
Honestly.
I'm gonna go super nerdy for a moment because my love for 40K didn't stem from the original content. It stemmed from a review from a parody channel, basically.
Mm.
It was if the Empire had a text-to-speech device. I still watch the old content. I still laugh at the old content, and it's basically making fun of the whole grim dark genre, and that's how I got into this thing.
Right.
Now they forced the creator out of creating that content, Games Workshop, and ever since he stopped that, I don't care about the original content anymore because I see how you guys are bullying people who are trying to express their love for that work, and it doesn't look like that.
Yeah. There's this other channel, I think it's called the Rap Zone or the Rap or
Yeah.
something like that,
Mhm.
where they'd have like a mock court of sorts where they'd get in a genuine Star Wars fan who's been watching Star Wars since like the 70s or something.
Yeah,
Then that one guy who likes The Last Jedi.
yeah.
And that make
That's
their
me.
Hey,
that make
and that fight.
that make the arguments. There's also one where they have Superman and Batman on opposite sides, and then that make their arguments. Cool, really, really dope stuff. Really dope content.
Yeah. I mean, for me, if my work got parodied, I'd see it as the highest compliment. And
It
I'll
is though.
I'd go on record. If somebody is consumed my content enough for them to go on various social medias to talk
Right.
about it, or
Right.
even make fun about it, I made it. I made it.
Hmm.
Plus,
I'm-
like,
I'm
fandoms
the guy-
are what make these IPs last. If
Yes.
if all your actions destroy that fandom, then how do you expect to still make money? Honestly,
I mean, Team 4-Star saved Dragon Ball Z.
no, it did.
Right. No, for real.
After
We
real.
keep
like,
saying it.
people had a sour taste from GT. They brought it back.
They brought it back.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Mm.
no.
Also, YouTube has kept the original Power Rangers relevant for years.
Yeah, it has.
Like part and parcel of why those first actors are still going to Comic Con and getting signatures, and it's because there's so much fandom on YouTube.
Let's still know.
Yeah, they still know and say, even though that thing came out in the early 90s.
And boy was I gutted when the other guy passed away.
Jason David Frank,
Yo.
Tommy
Yeah.
Oliver. the Green
Oh, I
Ranger.
was gutted. I was
Yeah.
gutted. I mean, no.
He was how many? He was so. I think he was. So first he was the Green Ranger. Then
Yes.
he was the White Ranger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then he was
The
the Red
Red-
Ranger.
Yes.
In Space
Then-
Force. Ne?
Yes.
In Turbo, in Zeo,
Oh, and-
then Turbo, then he left in the middle of Turbo, then he came back
He
in
was in Turbo.
in Wild Force. There was an episode called Forever Red, where all 10 Red Rangers were there.
Yeah.
It was actually more than 10 Rangers. Then he came back in.
I think he came back in High Speed Rescue. What's the one where they were firemen? I think he
Lightspeed
came
Rescue.
back. Was it Lightspeed Rescue? Sorry.
No, he came back in Dino Thunder as the Black Ranger.
Oh.
Yeah, he was a doctor there.
And
then
he also
he kept on making like cameos in other ones later on.
and he also cameoed in that awful movie.
Which
one? Oh, the Power Rangers, the
Mighty.
2019 one,
Yeah.
2018 one.
The Bishop
Yeah.
to Space. That's what I call that movie.
Yeah, the Dunkin' Donut. What's this? The
Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme
Yeah.
advert.
So
What a
yeah, no,
waste,
I was
eh?
gutted when that happened. Anyway, guys, we'll have a proper episode about Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do,
Yeah,
guys.
we
I'm
let's
such
do
a
that.
power.
Need to
I'm
talk
such
about
a
Power
power.
Rangers.
I'm such a Power Rangers fan, guys. You
I
have no
can
idea.
see it. I can see the passion.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I want that because hey, it's one of those things that when you look back, the cringe almost kills us. But when we were watching it as kids, we would have
Oh my
never
goodness.
watched it.
No, it was
Yeah.
intense.
No, it was.
Then we
it
can
was
talk
really
about
good.
which one's your favorite, like.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So let's go to the second part of this discussion. We are talking about our Powerpuff Girls. I'm gonna put the song. The intro. I think we did talk about intros. I think I like the Powerpuff's intro more than. Yeah, it's my favorite of all the three we are gonna discuss.
Wow. Okay.
Because I love when it comes to the music. Nobody beats Aku.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely.
That narration is the best narration.
Long ago in a distant land, I, Aku, the shape-shifting master of darkness, unleashed an unspeakable evil. But a foolish samurai warrior wielding a magic sword
Step forth
to oppose me.
We ching, ching, ching.
Before the final blow was struck, I tore open a portal in time and flung it into the future, where my evil is
No. What?
now the fool seems to return to the past and undo the future.
That is
Aku. Rest in peace, Marco, man. Rest in peace.
rest in perfect bliss.
Hey, gotta
Honestly.
get back to the past, samurai.
Samurai Jack.
Hey.
I am good, that song, man.
Yeah, but
That's
the music and the music of Powerpuff Girls still, I still kind of like it because of the whole ding 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 ding. Ding.
Yeah. But also, remember, do you guys remember that song, Powerpuff? Makes the world go round. Na, 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 na.
I'm gonna look it up. I kind of remember it.
It's the clown, the black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they defeated him, right? With that
Yes.
song. Powerpuff, make the world. I like.
I think what resonates me with the most with Powerpuff Girls is that there's these super powerful girls. So it was like a nice segue into quote unquote shoujo, I guess. Because for those people who weren't introduced to like Sailor Moon
Yes, or Shira.
Shira,
Also power.
Powerpuff Girls was a lovely answer to that.
Right.
In my
And
heart.
it didn't feel girly. It didn't feel like a show where you felt like I need to chase. It didn't feel like Gem.
Yeah.
You remember Gem, Gemini Stone, and the whatever.
Oh wait.
It didn't. Yes, or Josie and the Pussycats. It didn't feel like that. It felt like even dudes can sit down and watch.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Powerpuff Girls and that other one with those three spy girls. What are
Totally
they?
Spies.
Totally Spies.
Totally Spies. Every
Yeah.
guy can sit down and watch Totally Spies. It
Yeah,
makes-
that's
I
true.
mean, those girls were nice.
Yeah. hey, don't throw Kim Possible under the bus.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That on two. Shigo has been the awakening of so many of my friends.
I haven't watched Shigo yet, but I'll check. Is that a Netflix show, man?
Shigo is the villain of
The black hair.
I'm thinking of something else. Sorry.
If Kim Possible had black hair, basically,
Yeah, and powers
and white skin.
Yeah.
and black lipstick.
Exactly.
Oh, she was like super goth girl.
She
With
was
the
super
green,
goth girl.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. And every goth fanatics awakening came from either her or Danny Phantom's girlfriend. I mean.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
cartoon action. There was a weird 2000s era where every female was a weird goth girl.
Or Spinelli from Recess. Remember Recess?
Yeah.
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 There you go.
We could actually make a list of top 10 goth
Yes.
girls.
Yeah.
We should, because I need to give you guys something.
Does Buttercup belong in that group?
She could.
list?
She could.
She could.
But what I liked about Powerpuff Girls is that they didn't try and stretch that they're girly or anything like that. It was just that they're Powerpuff Girls.
Right. I mean, they would have moments like sleepovers.
Yes.
Whatever,
And
but
And each character really emphasized parts of a child's development necessarily. It never really stuck to someone's gender. Like Bubbles was she loved the animals.
Girly girl, yeah. Could even speak to animals. I think that was her power that we really underappreciated.
Yeah. And then there's Blossom, who'd be like the A student of the classroom.
Blossom for life.
Blossom?
Yeah, bro. Blossom, bro.
And then of course, then we've got Buttercup, who's basically the quote unquote tomboy. I didn't. For some people would like to call people tomboy. I didn't see so much tomboyish action. I just saw a girl that wanted to that knew what she wanted and wanted to get it.
Yeah.
She reminds me of Siphon from Bleach in a way.
Yeah, because tomboys would be like people. The description that I grew up with, I may be correct. It was like girls who were more interested in boyish pursuits. So should be out there playing hockey. Should be out there playing
independent.
Soccer with the boys instead of playing dolls. Buttercup didn't really have that much of the. She was rough, but she was still. She
enjoyed all the things they did, like for the most part. Yeah. She was just had a lot of attitude and was more violent for some reason.
Yeah, like don't mess with my sisters, don't mess with my dad, don't play around. If we need to kick your butt, I'll make it quick. Fast, quick, and
and thorough.
And thorough, right?
I mean, there was an episode where they showed Blossom was the best fighter between the three of them.
Tebello, what did I tell you? Tebello, what did I tell you?
There was an episode.
I told you.
Even though they used to market Buttercup as like I kicked the ass.
Buttercup,
Blossom was the best fighter.
Buttercup is the strongest, is the toughest fighter. Blossom is the best, is the overall tactical genius, and the way it shows is when she took down that spoiled brat, Princess,
bro.
Yeah.
Because that episode, bro.
That episode, you know what? Let's be honest. Growing up as kids, right? There's always that one spoiled brat in class that we all hated because that child always got away with everything. And then there comes that one time where they get their comeuppance. And when they're getting yelled at or being beat or being thrashed by their parents in public and it's all embarrassing for them, deep down inside, every single child in the group is like,
you deserve it. Because I remember when I saw that part, I was like, what's Blossom going to do? Because Bubbles and Buttercup are down.
You just saw her eyes. Like,
you saw she was serious there. And
like
even in the movie,
power, she's just like, nothing.
Even in the movie, there's a part where they're on the because they had messed up everything. Like all the monkeys were like Major Jojo in a way. It was like
yes, it was in the movie.
Yes, and then they went on the moon, and Buttercup and Blossom were fighting. Look, dude, it didn't even take 3 seconds. Blossom was already on Buttercup. Buttercup was like, ah!
Oh yeah,
and Blossom was like, dude, calm down. She was sitting on top of Buttercup. Man. I was like, yo, this is crazy.
And what you'd love about what's his name? The person who figured out that to save the day in that movie is to beat up the bad guys was Buttercup, by the way.
Can I make it?
And then she was like, "I'm sorry, I just didn't know what to do." And then Blossom was like, "Buttercup, you're a genius."
Can I suggest something? You guys can let me know if I'm wrong.
Huh?
But don't you guys feel like the archetypes of those characters, specifically the three girls, is not a little copy-paste Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Like Bubbles is
Donatello / Mikey.
Yeah, and then obviously
actually Mikey
is Raphael, and then
Blossom is Leo.
No. They just left the techno geek.
Yeah, they
combined the techno geek with the leader.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Donatello and Leo are Blossom.
Yeah. And then
Raphael is
Buttercup
and
Mike.
Yeah. And then they swap the colors around so it's not too obvious.
And the way you see it
Yeah.
is that you also see it in the opposite counterparts, the Roderuff boys,
Right.
Yeah.
because we have the dis- the leader. I forgot their names now.
Yeah, I don't remember the names at all.
Yeah, I don't
That-
remember the names.
For being the ultimate anti-Powerpuff Girls, they're relatively forgettable as villains.
Dude, they have, I think, the least amount of screen time out of all
Yeah.
the villains.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't even want to use them. Like maybe they were forced upon them or something.
Yeah.
They were an
Because-
afterthought.
Mm.
But because if you look at the wide variety of villains that you see in the Powerpuff Girls,
Dude, Powerpuff Girls low-key is like best villain next to
Yeah.
Batman.
Batman.
fact,
Bruh.
I mean, we've got
Yeah.
Mojo Jojo. Well, if Mojo Jojo is the villain.
Mm.
He's the Joker of
Mm.
Yeah, he's the Joker of, ironically, same color motif of
Mm.
of the Powerpuff Girls.
I always felt like Mojo Jojo. If Saiyan Ape, Goku, and Piccolo fused,
Mm.
Yeah,
that would be Mojo Jojo.
that would be Mojo Jojo. And Mojo Jojo, Mojo Jojo is not weak.
No.
You know, like he has to rely on his genius alone. That man could lift a crowbar.
Mm.
Right.
No, not even a crowbar, a literal iron bar for these construction buildings.
Mm.
And he's actually their brother. Eh? That's something we forget. Like
Yeah,
Mojo
true.
Mojo Jojo is Professor Utonium's pet, like who also got exposed to Chemical X.
He was there.
Thank
He was
you,
there.
Uncle.
He's actually the one who broke the Chemical X thing.
Yeah,
No, you're right. I see him more as the brother than an uncle because he was there. He got the chemical X.
yes.
Yeah.
He's
the son
he sees
of-
Professor X as like a father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And there was an episode about that. That's why the Powerpuff Girls called him dad, and he was like, "It was me. It was
Yeah.
it was me." The way he was dying inside. Because you know how many times they beat Mojo Jojo. Oh no!
Bro, there's
Can
an
you talk about
episode
how-
where he didn't do anything. He didn't do nothing. I think he was he was busy tending to a bonsai tree, and they just knocked him, dog.
Mm.
Kicked his butt, bruh. Like he didn't do anything.
And
They've done that so many times. Even in the episode where Buttercup wants to get money for her teeth, she just goes to Mojo Jojo's house, beats him up, gets his teeth, and leaves. And Mojo's like, "I was just at home."
And that's the other thing you learn. That's the one thing you also learn from Powerpuff Girls is that they're also kids. They do childish things.
Yeah.
They make childish mistakes.
Yeah.
Like crashing because she saw she can get money for giving teeth, so she'll
Right.
get all the teeth.
Yeah.
Or
Or stealing golf clubs for Professor Utonium.
Yeah.
That was Blossom. She started stealing, eh?
yeah, because she wanted to make someone happy. It's that innocently doing something wrong that kids do.
Yeah.
Like the episode, and it's also then it serves as a lesson for us kids. I mean, we learned how to eat our vegetables because of Powerpuff Girls. Remember
Well, before
when those
Popeye
vegetables
spinach.
became aliens.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you were not familiar with Popeye spinach, yes, you would
Yes.
definitely. Yeah.
But if you when you watched that episode where they ended up eating all the vegetables and it was like a war, and they got all the kids to eat the vegetables, to eat those armies
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
smart.
everything, and then suddenly a day later the parents are busy going to buy vegetables and they just see all the kids eating the vegetables at the store. It's like,
That's smart.
Yeah, that was a zombie episode, man. Yeah, that was a good one. But like you're right, like a lot of the episodes are structured to have lessons. It's quite well, I mean, in the good part of Powerpuff Girls. You know, like there's later seasons and later reincarnations
no, we
that
don't.
didn't
Yeah.
carry that, but
No.
the original
Millennial.
show.
What I've learned last,
Yeah.
I'm applying what I learned last podcast to this one. You know, it stopped at that scene,
Mhm.
and I after that they just let it go. You know, I always respect Cartoon Network. It knows how to let go of a good story. It doesn't rehash and rerun a story over and over again. I mean, we never know What happened to Samurai Jack? Did they release
No. As far as we
Okay,
know, it's still stuck in the past.
Exactly.
clearly I have a controversial take, but we'll address that in the next episode.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh no.
But I think I'll be more inclined to agree with you though. I think.
Yeah, but
But there are some things that I didn't like about that last season. But there are some things I should like.
yeah. I think we'll get round to that. What I wanted to add as well was what I see a whole lot of Gendy's influence is that each episode, like you told, each episode has a lesson, but it's also narrated so well that it's like a movie in and of itself, including the narrator. I mean, the city of Townsville.
Isn't who narrates it? I think it's Tom Kenny, right? I think we need to do an episode about voice actors because Tom Kenny has done not only SpongeBob, not only like so many characters, guys. Like he does the mayor in Powerpuff Girls, and I think he does Powerpuff Girls. I mean, doesn't that sound like SpongeBob? Powerpuff Girls, help!
It does.
Then, I mean, the more I think about it, the more I'm remembering all these awesome episodes. Like, remember there was the time when it was raining and they had to play at home? And then the game they made ended up actually happening in the city, but they didn't want to leave the city because they were having too much fun.
Yeah.
And also how they eventually explain why there's so many monsters in that damn city.
Oh yeah, because monsters, like going to Townsville and getting their butt kicked is
like a rite of passage.
Yeah, it's like a rite of passage. You're seen as a hero when you go back home.
I also felt like a lot of the carryovers from Dexter's Lab was like the Easter eggs and references to other media.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Powerpuff Girls still kept that. Like they had references to superhero, obviously the genre. They had that Beats episode. They had the guy who collects the Powerpuff Girls as action figures. Like there was a lot of like Easter eggs to like nerd culture and nerd things.
Or even even the Justice League that they had.
Oh yeah.
You remember there was the group of male superheroes that they eventually.
Actually, the guy you're talking about who collects action figures, he used to have a segment on Cartoon Network where he would talk about Easter eggs in other shows.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, he used to have that. Like he would say in episode 255 of Powerpuff Girls, where on Dexter's Lab, where Dexter has a beard and is walking around in the background, you actually see Fred Flintstone and Joe Jetson and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
So then, well, of course, speaking, which reminds me of the villains. One of the villains that I hate the most, of course, is him.
Oh, you hate him, but I understand. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
Powerpuff Girls. Don't do that. Oh God. I mean.
Okay.
But I feel like he was the most powerful villain. Am I lying though to think that?
Technically, he is.
Technically, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, because
almost unstoppable.
Nowhere have you seen him actually take a hit, except for the intro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from that, every time they defeat him in detail, they stop his plan.
Yeah, like, Blossom has to intervene somehow.
Like there was the one time where he tricked them into traveling so fast into the future because of
great episode.
Or there was a time where he
I think that was the first 2-part episode, no?
Yeah.
The Speed Force, no? Like the Speed Force episode, basically.
Yeah. Then there was the one where he possessed Buttercup's little toy.
Oh yes, yes. So there's also one where he gave them a couple of tricks, and he was like, "If you don't do this, the professor will pay." Only to find out that
voice change is crazy.
Only to find out that it was just about the professor literally paying for his meal. Like,
I think what you learn about him is that you don't defeat him by fighting him head on. You just stop his plans.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the only time one time he actually did something nice for them inadvertently by by giving them candy for their birthday.
So he's the Riddler, basically, of this story.
More or less.
Yeah.
But what frustrates me is the obscene level of queer coding, which really didn't help much
Right.
for people who are struggling with their identity growing up. Because not only I understand when people are going about how queer coding was prevalent in Disney, aka Ursula, aka Jafar, Scar, you name them. There's a whole lot of queer coding because
Right.
it was the only way we could in some cases the queer creators could express their creativity in this medium. But the downside was that everyone who was queer in the world saw themselves as the villain, which really didn't help so much on our self-esteem growing up.
Yeah.
Because we now
Okay.
not only are we seeing ourselves as the bad guy, we are having a society that it tells us that we're inherently evil for liking what we like.
True. And
Never
with
saw it that
him,
way.
it was so explicit.
And now with him, it was even worse. It was literally the devil himself.
Damn, never saw it that way.
So it took a while. It took a while for me to appreciate him as a character, but he did a lot of damage. I won't lie.
But when the like good guys that were in the community though,
Back then, name them.
like that's why I'm asking. Like I'm really finding. I know there is or there are, but I'm really finding it hard to pinpoint them at this moment, and that's telling. That should tell you a lot.
It's only starting to happen now, ish. By now, ish, I'm talking about like mid 2000s because there were cartoons which did portray LGBT characters positively. I remember there was a couple in that show with the girl with the brace face.
Yeah, brace face.
Brace face.
Yeah, there was a queer couple there. There were others that just starting to come around. But
I feel like also Heroes was trying to do something like that with Mahindra and Matt Parker, but they didn't really do it fully. When they adopted a child together,
they didn't have to. I mean, another good example.
You remember?
That. Another good example of positive queer coding was Xena.
Oh yeah, because Xena was
Xena was for days, honest to God.
yeah.
Xena Gabrielle. Even I as a kid was like, bah. Yeah. I mean, I was rewatching the content now, and I'm thinking. And then another content that also did a lot of damage, but that one at that point I was fully in my evil arc was Stargate, the movie.
I don't think I've watched Stargate.
I haven't watched the movie.
Oh yeah,
not the movie. Yeah.
The movie. Ra was the most flamboyant. I mean, they got the guy who acted in the Crying Games, for heaven's sake. So they could not have got any worse in the queer coding.
But no, you're right. It's been a long journey.
Now that we're grown up, we are fully into it. Actually, we embrace our Jafar. We embrace our inner Jafar, our inner Ishlas, our inner Scars. It's fine. But growing up, it did do it. There's no one I can say it did do its damage growing up, and that was my big argument with him as a villain. But now let's move on to the other villains that you find here.
Sedusa.
Yes, Sedusa.
Great introductory episode. Probably one of the best villain introductions. The one where she seduces the mayor as
Miss Bellum.
Miss Bellum.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And we saw Miss Bellum taking matters into her own hands. Yeah. Like, girl, don't worry. You just stand there.
Sedusa was thick, bro. I don't blame the mayor, bro. Like,
also, she was very much for me a Poison Ivy inspiration.
Yeah.
But it was great.
Wasn't there the movie where there was that lady who was giving people terrible makeup? There've been a lot of Powerpuff Girl movies. Let's be honest.
I only know the one.
Oh, yeah, that one.
But I'm you know me. When the animation changed, I stepped out.
I think you're talking about the Christmas one, right? There was a Christmas one from the old era.
Yes.
I think there was a Christmas one, yeah.
Because there's this villain who she was a makeup artist who used to make the I forgot some goth look. And now she got replaced with a bland look, and she was so pissed off that she gave everyone in the town
Horrible makeup.
horrible makeup. And then when she goes into the dimension where him is, they look at each other for like 5 minutes. Like,
Right.
what am I supposed to do with you? You already have horrible makeup. Then she makes him into a clown.
Wow. Yeah, but Seducer for me was really good. Not the toughest villain,
No.
but that episode was really good.
It was good.
It was a great episode. I mean, it even got that classic Big Lebowski thing where the mayor is like, "Real men also cry."
Yeah.
Also cry.
But guys, can we talk about how horrible of a man the mayor is?
Wow.
The mayor is married, guys. He has a wife.
He is.
Yeah, there's an episode
But yes, you are right. He is.
where some criminals broke in, and then he's
And
like, "You
it
can
was
take
his
everything.
mayor.
You can take my wife. Like you can." And he kept on saying it, like, "My wife, guys. You can have
No,
my
but
wife."
the mayor isn't actually a horrible representation. The mayor is a mayor. That's what those are the mayors we are dealing with in real life.
He's not
is
just
the mayor.
incompetent, he's dangerous.
He is.
Vote mayor for mayor. It's like his name is mayor.
Yes.
Yes. Well, mayor for mayor.
I mean,
Oh my gosh, I love mayor.
The-
I love
the-
mayor. I'm sorry, guys. The more we talk about,
and
the
his
more I
laugh
love.
and his laugh for pickles.
Yeah. Oh. You know the innuendo in Powerpuff Girls.
Where she's like, "Will you open my
Pause.
pickles?"
Yeah, and when Miss Venom opens it, he's like, "Ha ha ha." You have some weird ass fetishes, man. You're like, yo.
And then there was the time where he signed off the whole town because of an unlimited supply of Turkish delight,
Wow.
and then they made crime legal. It was so funny.
I love how in our discussion of villains, the mayor came up like in the roster. Like the mayor is officially a Powerpuff Girls villain.
But he's not a villain, but
No, I get you.
wow,
He,
like
he
low-key-
definitely never.
He's not
helps.
helping.
Yeah.
Not help. I
Yeah.
think that's what you
Yeah.
that's what you want to say about the mayor of
Yeah.
Huntsville.
Yeah, like he's actually a douchebag. Like if you really think about it, if you see it in with adult
Eyes.
you realize that.
I mean, there's even an episode where I think he calls the Powerpuff Girls for everything. Like, "Oh, please do this, please do that, please do this, please do that." And then the girls eventually are fed up with him, and then they leave him.
It wasn't just the mayor; it was the whole town.
even
Yeah.
Miss Vellum quit. I think.
Powerpuff
Yeah.
Girls, help! It's like, please lift this. Powerpuff Girls, help! And then it was like, Powerpuff Girls, help! The remote's over there. We quit. Then they go float on the cloud. I like that's why you see Blossom can also be quite mean when she wants to be, because it was like everybody quit, they left. She comes back to go give the professor the remote. She lifts the remote, looks at him, throws it on the ground, and then she flies out.
Wow. And there's the Amoeba Boys. There's also the
Hey.
Gang
Rowdy
Green
Rough
That's
Gang.
about Matt.
Oh wait,
Gang Green Gang. Huh? Gang
The
Green
Green
Gang. Yeah.
with Ace the leader.
And Snake. Is it
And
Snake?
she got and how he managed to charm Buttercup into falling in love with him.
Yeah.
Buttercup was always going for the bad guy's shame.
So like that's the thing. Like I feel like the Gang Green Gang was the villains that they really liked, because they also appear. I think they probably
lot.
appear in the show Mojo Jojo, and that's why I
Yeah.
don't think the Rowdy Rough Boys were the characters that they wanted to use. I feel like maybe
Oh, the line is breaking up.
the studio, we're not interested in that. The Grand Green Gang is how we want to do that, and it showed for me.
Because even the Amoeba Boys, do you remember the Amoeba Boys? We only see them for like 3 episodes or something.
Yeah. We basically learn about Matt's division. And then it's like, if you take this number and divide it by this number, you get 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one that I didn't really like at all It's the guy with the banjo. That's the.
Oh, Fuzzy
Get off my
Lumpkins.
property!
Yeah.
I think.
Well, we know what he was.
I think that's why they made him that. They didn't make him human. Otherwise, a
Yeah.
certain group of people would have been offended. Highly
But
offended.
the way
Yeah.
Buttercup beat his ass to an inch of his life, you know that episode where she had to go to the mountains and with the max to learn how to become all zen and everything. He beat him so badly that even the nurse was like, "What did you do?"
Fuzzy Lumpkins, man. Wait, is his name Fuzzy Lumpkins? He's
Yeah, Fuzzy
he's
Lumpkins.
pink.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
I was looking
Fuzzy
for his name.
Lumpkins. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
spot on. And he became mayor for one episode, I think.
Imagine.
That both mayor
But
for
you-
mayor episode, Fuzzy Lumpkins actually
Yeah.
won the campaign.
But you're right though. Like he was funny in parts, but he wasn't like on my list of great
No,
villains. Like
No, that-
I was happy they didn't use him all the time.
he's the kite man of Powerpuff Girls. Like,
Yeah.
I think I always used to think that the top three those villains, Fuzzy Lumpkins was basic. Try to get my train of thought in order. Give me a moment.
okay.
We're gonna call this the ADHD moment.
Mm.
All right. If you look at the intro, you see that the Powerpuff Girls fight against their masculine opposites.
Right.
Mm.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
So
Mm.
Buttercup
Beats him.
ends up kicking him. She's the most feminine of the three, and she takes on the most masculine of the.
She's the least feminine, yeah. And and beats up the most feminine villain, yeah.
Yeah. No. Oh no, Buttercup. I mean, yeah, she beats Bubbles beats up Fuzzy Lumpkin, yes, and she's the most feminine, and he's the most masculine. Then Buttercup, being the most tomboyish, ends up against kicking the tooth off him,
Yeah.
and then Blossom, being the technical genius, fights against the tactical genius of the bad guys, which is Mojo Jojo.
Mojo Jojo, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a mirror. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Was that deliberate?
I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't.
And they are mirrors because, like, I guess we as we discussed earlier, we didn't think so, but I guess the discussion of like whether or not Buttercup is, trying to find her identity, and I guess him's identity is deliberately ambiguous,
Yeah.
and then you get the whole technical genius thing between between Blossom and Mojo Jojo, and then with Bubbles and Fuzzy, I think they both had emotional anger issues because there was times where they'd show like Bubbles was always repressing her emotions, and then
Yes.
she'd always blow up, and then Fuzzy Lumpkins was the same.
Yes.
Guys,
So you're right.
I have to address the elephant in the room, and you guys can tell me: is Professor Utonium low-key Samurai Jack, guys?
Bro.
Like,
Bro.
is that where Aku actually took him? Like,
That jaw and that head. It's Jack.
It's Jack.
it's Jack, guys.
It's
Honestly.
Jack.
I think, was that an episode where those two characters met? Like one of those behind the scenes things.
Oh, like those crossover
Yeah.
ads. Maybe.
Maybe we should see because they look way too familiar.
They
The
do.
only difference is that one has a permanent scowl
Yeah,
and it's got a ponytail.
and the pigment is not really the same, but they look so much alike. It's
They look
crazy.
so much alike.
Also, like, wasn't it funny, like, how Professor X was always just trying to get laid? Like, that was, like, a
Yeah,
lot
Yeah,
of...
he was
like
permanently
going on
lonely. He was
dates trying to
permanently
find
sad.
girls.
yeah.
then-
Bruh.
He almost got seducer and almost got Miss Keen. I remember he was dating Miss Keen at a point.
Yeah.
And then he also, I think after he invented the girls, he should have just stuck to being a good father and a good quote-unquote inventor. There was one episode where he got himself an exosuit and he was trying to help out with the girls. And the way he embarrassed those girls, it was the most funniest thing.
What did he do?
I mean, there was a time where he's like, "Oh, look at Bubbles," and to think that last week she was having a bedwetting problem.
Oh no!
She said that in front of her. The
Can we
poor
talk
girl was so messy and a paper bag on top of her face
Oh no.
for most of the episode.
Can we talk about the kids in that kindergarten class, guys? There's this guy who has a deep voice. What's that guy's name again? Hey, girls, what's going on? You're like, whoa, what the? You are not supposed to be in this class, man. Like, you're an adult. Like, you are an adult.
And I think we're going to talk about my favorite episode of the Powerpuff Girls because he does appear a little bit there. I think he only says two words, but still he appears there. You know, the episode where they learn how to swear.
Oh yeah, the toilet monster.
It's still one of my most favorite episodes.
Ribbon. You're like, what the hell is this guy saying?
Because they end up swearing when they get their test results back at school.
But didn't Professor Utonium said that because I think he was
Yes,
cooking
that's what they
something,
learned it.
and then he burnt his hand. And
That's
then,
what they learned it.
And then beep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they start using it. It's like, Then they get the exam results, and Miss Keen is like, all right, here are your test results. Some of you did very well. Well, most of you. She looks at Buttercup. And then she sees Bubbles and Blossom got an A, and she got an F.
Oh no.
And they all scream, well, what basically translates to fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, the other one just goes, oh, fuck. And you just see Miss Keen was like, and you just hear the guy like, they said, huh.
You know, speaking of funny episodes, my favorite, man, is when Mojo Jojo, the whole episode, guys, like 99.9% of the episode is Mojo Jojo explaining his elaborate plan of changing the world into dogs. Like, bro,
Yeah.
this is the second time, because the first time he did it, and then Buttercup, I think, bit him or whatever. But then it's like this time, the biting, the dog, like he keeps on saying the dog, the biting, and it's like, what are you guys got? Like, Joe, I was so immersed with that plan that I genuinely did not know what those girls will do. And he's like, what are you guys gonna do? They were like, we're gonna kick your butt.
Yes.
And that's exactly what they did, bro. I was like, oh, flip, I didn't expect that at all.
Or
That was a good one.
Or there's so many awesome episodes. Let's be real. I think the thing about Powerpuff Girls is that each episode is good, and there are very few bad episodes from the OG Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I haven't seen the new ones where they start having these weird looking superpowers, like they become floating phones and stuff like that. Because for me, or they start twerking.
Isn't there like a fourth Powerpuff Girl now, a black one?
Apparently, I haven't seen it. I don't wish to see it. I have no desire of seeing it. I'm talking about the ones. I'm talking about the ones that I grew up on. There'll be the ones that you guys in Gen Z or Gen Alpha that will watch, and then you will come up, and then you'll have your own podcast, and then you will talk about it. I'm fair. I give everybody a turn to talk about what matters to them, and that one does not matter to me. I'm so sorry. So, where was I? Oh, each episode was well written. So that you can find that we'll find moments that you love about every single episode. Like the one that comes up to me now is when Mojo Jojo was sentenced to go teach English as an English mentor, and he gets the whole town talking like he does. In this whole articulated, long, extrapolated sentences. I refuse to say which is to say I say no, which is to say that I do not agree with the proposed, which is to say I do not agree with the proposal statement that you
Oh man, I'm trying to think of a great episode that. Okay, well, I think the Beatles one will always be.
Yeah.
The one that I really like. The Beatles. Sorry. The Beatles. Because I just thought it was like so smart. Like it's like one of the smartest episodes I've ever seen in my life. But like and also because it broke the formula. Like it wasn't a Powerpuff Girls episode. It was actually about the villains.
The villains, yeah.
And I always like that. Like we'll talk about the one they do in Jack, which I think is the perfect version of that.
Oh,
like
whoa,
yeah.
of the African guy, the cat.
Yes, that one. Yes.
Yeah, like
Ah.
all the villain episodes in Jack are like, even though the Robo guy, the guy who's a robot has the dog,
Lulu, sweet
like,
thing.
sweet thing. Like
You know,
when Samurai Jack was
that one
not
broke
about
my
Samurai,
heart. That one
when
broke my
Samurai
heart.
Jack was not about Samurai Jack. My
Yeah.
God, like those
Actually,
episodes were
Samurai Jack is actually the villain in those episodes.
he is
He's
the one.
he's not
Remember
the
the one
villain, he's
with
the antagonist.
remember
Oh yeah,
in-
he's the antagonist in those.
Remember when they, which we'll talk about, but just to spark that idea, but like remember when they there's like a Western, like where they're chilling at a tavern and they're trying to like the bounty hunters are all coming together.
Yeah.
There's
That's
like
the
the
one.
princess lady,
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
with the
you're right, the
cats.
food and the cats,
The fruits,
yeah.
and the
Sorry,
cats,
you're right.
yeah. And that girl, like we didn't really see that she was a girl until the end where she took off her helmet, and she was like slicing water drops or
Yes.
something, raindrops.
Yeah, it was like
That was crazy. Yeah. That was crazy.
no, but like with Powerpuff Girls, like because I'd never seen that before. Like I would see it later in other shows,
Yes.
but like when the episode was about the villain, I mean, the villains, I was like, yo, this is what am I watching? It's like
And
the
then-
Powerpuff Girls was in that episode for like a minute.
Exactly.
It's crazy, but yeah, that's a good episode.
That is a very good episode, I won't lie. You see what I'm talking about? I can't, you see, now I feel like I want to change my mind about my favorite episodes because, yeah, sure, I do like about the Toilet Monster, but I also liked about the Beatles. I like the one where Mojo Jojo invented the Rowdy Rough Boys because you saw it starts with him being beaten so many times. He has a psychotic break in the jail cell.
And he just calls the professor like, "Yo, give me the recipe." And the professor like, "Yes,
He calls us away. He calls us a reporter. He's like, "I'm calling from the whatever newspaper, and we wanted to know how this is that you made the Powerpuff Girls." Oh, okay. Well, first I did this.
Sugar,
Well,
spice.
there's probably more Mojo. Like a lot of the Mojo Jojo episodes are like
Fire,
like
bro. Fire.
fire.
And then,
I can't. It's been a while, so I can't think of all of them now. But like fire.
There's
dude.
there's no boring one.
and I
That's
think one of the, or rather, I'm gonna say something a little controversial because you guys did lambaste me earlier. That personally, the one character who embodies potential the most is Bubbles, and you don't see it in the episode where she has amnesia. Because sure, Bubbles and sure, Buttercup and Blossom were trying to hold back, but that girl thrashed them.
Bubbles is like the Gohan of the group.
Yeah, as Mojo Jojo. She's the one that if she snaps, God help us all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the one time she managed to stop this unstoppable monster by just talking to him. It's like, can you please
just go?
Just go away with pretty please little sprinkles.
No, guys, I just figured it out. Oh, you guys just made me realize this.
Yeah?
She's not necessarily Gohan. She's Unohana, bro.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
She's like the original Kempachi out here. Because if you remember, Unohana, bro, even when she landed in Hekomundo, she was like, guys, I'm just gonna take Ichigo. I'm gonna take this guys. Let's not.
We are here to heal. We are not here to fight.
No,
we are here to
like,
prevent more bloodshed. So I'm gonna stop all the bleeding here.
No, like no problem.
People, like,
cool. I know, cool.
And she was one of the originals that was like part of Yamamoto's like gangster squad.
Yes.
Yeah, bro.
And then there she was speaking to the members of Squad 11. It's like, please don't make a noise. And be aware that while you're in Squad 4's halls, your life's in our hands. I was like,
thank you.
Guys, sorry, I know this is breaking up a little bit, but I have a little bit of bad news. I think I'm gonna have load shedding in 5 minutes. I don't know for sure, but I think it's gonna happen. Because I had load shedding earlier in the day, but then it was supposed to be 2 hours, 10 into 4. And I'm assuming they might do it again. But I'm just letting you guys know.
But anyway, I think it's an hour and 40 mints. We're improving. I think we should call it a day.
I was actually surprised that the one we did for that other podcast, It's over 2 hours. The Namek saga is over 2 hours.
Yeah, you guys went in.
We went in, and I'm telling you, the Cell saga is gonna be much longer. That's why I thought either we need to plan around it because
We're gonna make it in parts. Like we're gonna break it down in parts.
We're gonna have to.
So
even
like,
if it's one recording session.
Yeah.
But,
so like I haven't watched the Namek saga yet. I'm gonna watch it now. But I wanna ask you after the Saiyan saga. Do you officially publicly, because we're still recording, do you publicly retract your statement about Vegeta?
Me?
Yes, you personally.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to you. Do you retract on live while recording? You retract your
statement. I'm
asking.
Look at me. Look at me. I would sooner have the moon land flat bang on me. I retract my statements about Vegeta.
Wow.
Okay.
Guys, I tried it.
No, we tried. Look,
I was if it couldn't take one of my best friends that I knew since primary school to convert me to Vegeta. Trust me, none of your arguments are going to work.
Yeah. Okay.
Look, we're not saying you should be a Vegeta stan. We're just saying that you need to see that in as much as he was obviously a villain and became an anti-hero, he was so vital to the plot of
I did agree with you that he did carry the plot. But I'm still calling him a bitch.
I hear you. I mean, he's the one that really told Gohan the truth. That dude, this dating thing is. They were saying, like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yo, not even his father was doing that. His father was going easy on him, and Gohan used to tell his dad, like, dude, dad, stop treating me like your son. Like, and if his dad actually took that advice, he would have destroyed Cell a long time ago. But his dad was just.
Was.
And like Vegeta is also selfish. Like like, there's literally a part where, I mean, I hope you guys, I'm sure you guys already covered it, but like where Vegeta was gonna destroy the Dragon Balls when the Ginyu Force arrived.
Because he was like, about that,
if I can't have it, no one else can.
It's fine.
Yeah, we didn't.
We
actually didn't.
Yo.
No, we didn't touch on that. That's
because it was in the introduction to the Ginyu Force. We got distracted about what the hell the Ginyu Force were.
And who's who.
And who's who. So it's something we should touch up on. But anyway, let me close things out before the lights go off. We've got 3 minutes anyway. So thanks a lot for lasting up until this end. We talked a lot. We enjoyed ourselves. We exposed ourselves. And yes, we also revealed where my undying hatred for Vegeta came from. So you know my origin story is a little better now. Thanks for the time. Once again, like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next week with all the better news. Once again, thank you so much for spreading the podcast like it's a disease, like herpes, like I asked you last week. So yeah, things are happening. Thank you. See you next time. Peace.